but she couldn't come to school, and Igor will tell us about it instead of her. It was Katya Karnal. Water pollution.
Water pollution. Nearly half of the lakes and rivers are polluted. Companies dump chemical waste into the water. The seas and oceans in danger too, because ships lose oil and put trash into the water. The result of it is that some species of fish are disappeared. Catches have fallen by more than 90%. Look at the river Tuska. Some years ago we would catch eatable fish there. It was such a pretty place to sit on a hot summer day. Waste materials are dumped into the river and poison the water. People threw the endless tins and paper into it. Our duty is find out the ways to solve this problem.
It's a very great ecological problem. And now we shall pass over to the lack of energy. Armand, would you please? And you will look through the text and probably add some material to it.
People have discovered that saving energy is better than making more energy. Always switch off when you leave an empty room and use lights that bulbs the energy. Sometimes turn down the heating and put on warmer clothes if you are cold. Besides, switch off the cooker a few minutes earlier, the heating to an hour. Now the food
is ready. No, sit down. That's all right. And find some places in the text about it.
Why not take shower in cold water and for shorter lengths of time?
Length of time, that's all right. And turn down the heating, put on warmer clothes if you are cold. That's all right. Thank you. You should save our energy. It's better to save it than to build more power stations because they will give us air pollution. And so we shall pass over to noise pollution. It is another ecological problem that influences on our health.
Noise pollution disturbs influences on the health, mood, work and rest. Try to reduce noise pollution if possible or avoid it at all.
Yeah, reduce. That's all right. Mind the accent here. We should respect people around us and avoid loud music. Sometimes loud sounds occur without people's interference. It is another ecological problem. And so we shall pass over to another one. That is when people harm their, disturb their health themselves. That is cigarettes, alcohol, unhealthy food, drugs, and so on and so forth. Look at the screen.
Sometimes people don't just pollute the environment, they pollute themselves with cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, and junk food. These are some of the world's most serious environmental problems. And it's not good pretending they don't exist, they do. What's more, they're getting worse all the time. What will happen if we don't try to solve these problems? Scientists have made predictions, and they are alarming.
Now mind it. It's very bad for your health. Now let us check our crossword. People don't just pollute the environment, they pollute themselves with cigarettes, alcohol, and unhealthy food. Now remember it. Now let's look at our crossword. It's a pity, but this screen doesn't let us open the blackboard. Now come here, Nastya, and read. Now step aside and read what is written here. That is, something happens
When a waterful waiter water comes over a place that is usually dry.
Dry, that's all right. And number one is?
Flood.
Flood, good. Now the next, Yangtze.
Yangtze was a terrible
Number 2.
earthquake
Earthquake
that happened in Peru.
in Peru. It was the greatest earthquake which has ever been. Так, number 3. Etna.
Etna is a volcano in Italy.
Volcano in Italy.
It's a mountain with a crater on the top.
Volcano. Now
Volcano.
look at the writing of the word, the spelling of the word. Так, the next. Something is.
A drought is a long
Хорошо. A drought is a long period
of dry weather. People suffer from heat and then from hunger. The crops cannot be grown without water.
And that is a drought. What is drought? Now remember U in the middle of the word and GH. Так, number 5. A tornado
is a violent wind in the form of a very tall funnel. It goes over the land.
The tornado. Так, and number 6, that is
A hurricane is a very strong wind that destroys houses,
uproofs. This is a mistake, it's mine.
Check please and hand people.
That's all right. You know the spelling of the word. Thank you. Sit down, please. Well done. And so, now it's time to have a rest, it seems to me, and relax a bit. We shall have a relaxing pause and look at the screen. Imagine yourselves in a winter forest. You are standing among leafless trees and evergreen pine trees with heavy caps of snow. Warmly clothed nature is sleeping and see wonderful dreams. The sun is shining brightly and its rays warm your face, body and soul. You are looking at the blue sky and the tops of white and silver trees. Aren't you happy being one with nature? Touch a branch of a tree and you will be covered with brilliance. Wash yourself with snow and you'll feel extremely fresh and powerful. Dream of yourself, your place in the life of your country. It needs you, your talent, your knowledge and your help. Have you had any rest? Are you ready to work? Yes, it seems to be that way. And now you will listen and see 2 projects. The first project is devoted to a very important ecological problem. That is the greenhouse effect. And it has prepared by one of our students, Angelina.
The greenhouse
Need a
effect.
pointer?
No, thanks. The Earth receives shortwave radiation from the Sun. 1/3 of which is reflected back out to space. The remaining radiation is absorbed by the surface and heats up the planet. Then the Earth emits infrared radiation because of the greenhouse gases contained in the atmosphere. This process is responsible for warming the planet. To have a better idea of it, let's imagine sunrises inside a greenhouse. In natural situations, the heat the Earth receives from the Sun equals the heat re-emitted by the Earth. Problems arise when greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane increase due to human activities, and the Earth gets hotter.
Gases.
In one way or another, problem of global warming affects the lives of everyone on the planet. If the weather changes, the level of the sea will rise. there will be floods and not enough food. Many animals will die out. Then scientists suggest to plant trees because a tree can recycle 48 pounds of carbon dioxide each year.
Thank you. Yeah, very pleased with your answer. The problem is difficult, and the lexics is very difficult here. Now the next problem is ozone depletion.
Ozone depletion is a very important ecological problem. For the last 20-25 years, as it was announced by experts, it became 2% severe. First ozone depletion was found out over Antarctic in 1978. It increased from 5 up to 20 million square kilometers. The international researchers show that ozone depletion is still increasing in size. Besides, new ozone holes appeared over Europe and the USA. The ozone layer is being damaged by gases. Unfortunately, emissions of gases, especially freon, go everywhere. Spaceships and planes also influence the ozone layer. One of the effects of the ozone depletion may be genetic mutation. According to the papers, the number of children and adults with diseases of blood and skin is growing. Different countries began to unite their efforts to stop the ozone layer from disappearing. And we care about the environment, and we are concerned about ozone depletion too.
Thank you very much. These problems are very important in our environment. And now I'd like you to do some exercise. Take sheets of paper, and we shall speak as the headmaster for the first of our school, and then the head of our town. If you were the headmaster of our school, and there are some expressions, use subjunctive one here, don't forget. Так, begin. Пожалуйста, Катя.
To throw.
If I were
the headmaster of our school,
I
would allow dogs at the school sports ground.
I would allow dogs at the school sports ground. And what about you, Nina?
I wouldn't allow dogs at the school sports ground.
School sports ground. Now the next, Igor.
If I were the headmaster of our school, I would prohibit smoking in school and create.
I would prohibit smoking in school.
Я бы запретила.
Prohibit what? Prohibit.
I would
Okay, prohibit smoking in school. Так, number C, пожалуйста, Арман. If I were
the headmaster of our school,
I would
not find parents for the children smoking and
He wouldn't fine. And what about Anya Shumakova? Fine, what is fine? I would fine parents for their children smoking and littering. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree.
Quite agree. Так, now the next one. Пожалуйста, Таня.
If I were the headmaster of our school, I wouldn't prohibit noise pollution.
Wouldn't prohibit.
I
Would prohibit. Запрещать. Запрещать. I would prohibit noise pollution. Так, now if I were the head of the town, пожалуйста, Аня Миляева.
If I were the head of the town, I would prohibit drinking beer in the streets.
That's all right. Sasha?
If I were the head of the city, I would fine people for dropping a package a can or a cigarette in the streets.
In the streets. That's all right. And you know that there are some state and international organizations which take care of our environment. For example, Greenpeace, it controls man's influence on climate, on air and water pollution, and some other organizations. And I think that in the future you will be a member of one of it, and you will take care of our environment. And so, our planet is in danger, and we should do our best to help it. And how you, teenagers, can help our environment. I'd like to listen to Danya and Anya. Two please. In your 16 years, you can help our planet. And in what way? Now listen to them.
You are just one of 100,000 million people who live on the earth. And if you try to live in a way that will save the earth rather than destroy it, you won't be alone. Your example will encourage your friends to do the same. Then they will tell their friends and families about helping to care for the environment. Here are some ways in which you, your friends and your family can save the earth right now.
Use less paper.
Save energy.
Use recycling centers.
Never drop litter.
Help less brothers.
Think before you throw anything away.
Walk or cycle whenever possible.
Clean your local environment.
Plant trees and flowers.
Don't pick up wild flowers.
And avoid bad habits.
Try to reduce noise pollution.
There are several points towards saving the earth. It won't always be easy to follow them. If you can manage to carry out plus some of them, you will know that you are contributing towards saving the earth. Now let's recite a poem written by British girl Miriam Martin.
All together, prepare your poems, and now let us read it all together. 1, 2.
The world needs a friend to love and depend on in times of troubles. The world has hope yet, if the people let it, and if we do it right. Together we can make the world a better place, because the world's best friend is you.
That's all right. And we are anxious about our planet, our environment, and we appeal to all people all over the world. Now let's say it all together. The globe needs tree planters more than soldiers. We are for clean planet. That's all right. And so we have done everything we have planned, and now we shall make some conclusion of the lesson. I'm very pleased with those who have prepared their reports and taken an active part in our today's lesson. This is about Sasha, Danya, Katya. Probably you were a bit passive, but you have prepared your report. I'll give you 5s to those who have prepared reports and presentations. And we continue to study this work. It's only the beginning. That's all right. You will then have good marks. And now I'd like to listen. What useful things have you taken from our today's lesson? You have got such sheets of paper as reflection. And this is the beginning of the sentences, and your task is to finish them. For example, we trained what? Who wants to answer? What?
New lexics.
New lexics, that's all right. We practiced what?
Doing projects.
Doing projects, okay. And making presentations and your reports. Now, we learned about
different ecological problems and how to help our environment.
Yeah, good. We did
Some exercises and projects.
projects. We read
We read very interesting and useful texts.
We discussed
We discussed problems caused by math's influence on